Today, we're going to be learning about the craziest rocks to ever be created.
I was in the museum the other day looking at all these cool rock formations on display. You know, there were spiky rocks and goopy rocks, but when I made it all the way to the bottom, what I saw didn't make any sense.
What was it?
It was a rock, but it was like someone had created perfectly machined metallic cubes and fused them into it.
Is it tungsten?
This is strange, because this was supposed to be a natural formations display, and
wait,
these
how?
were obviously human-made. Am I the only one who thinks that? Like, am I dumb?
No, you're not dumb.
But turns out, it
Maybe a little.
wasn't fake. So naturally, my next question was, what sorcery is this? Possibly perfect-shaped rocks. The cubes are called pyrite, and despite looking like a metal, it's actually a crystal. And in a specific mine in Spain, you can literally pull these perfect shiny cubes right out of the cave wall.
I want to know the science behind it.
How did these form in the first place? Well, if you zoom in, you'll see that pyrite is made of the elements iron and sulfur. Initially, they float around.
I really like how in the animation he's like zooming in and showing exactly what it's made of, and we're also getting a lot of facts about the rocks, because I honestly don't really know much about rocks. Even though I look like a guy that might know something about rocks, I don't really know too much about rocks other than the fact that tungsten is the heaviest rock metal. That's all I really know.
Ions in hot water underground, and as the fluid cools, opposite charges attract and they begin to crystallize.
Oh, cool.
In crystals, atoms like to arrange themselves in a lattice, which is a repeating arrangement that keeps the crystal stable.
That makes sense.
The repeating pattern in a lattice is called the unit cell, and it just so happens that the unit cell for pyrite is a perfect cube.
That's so cool.
It's really complicated like this, so let's just stuff it all into a box. And
turn it into a cube.
Cube-shaped Lego brick. In the
It's a building block.
Conditions, these Lego bricks build up evenly, layer by layer, resulting in a fake-looking cube. And sometimes you can even get multiple pyrite cubes growing in each other, leading to all sorts of cool designs.
So I still can't get it through my brain that forms naturally in nature. Like, you would think that somebody got a bunch of metals together, they got big equipment, big power tools, and then they started sawing and then sanding these different rocks to look like a bunch of cubes, and then this would be sold in an art museum for like $1 million. But no, this was created by Mother Nature. That's pretty cool.
But a cubic unit cell doesn't necessarily mean you'll get a cubic crystal, like in the
Why
case
not?
of garnet, where different environmental conditions make it form perfect dodecahedrons instead. And
what?
Crystals aren't even rare in nature. Like if you look really closely, table salt is cubic.
Wait, table salt is cubic?
I'm convinced that you're real now. Wait a minute. If this crazy looking rock was right under my nose the whole time, what else are you hiding?
More rocks, more rocks, more rocks.
Musical rocks.
Wait, oh! I actually do know something about musical rocks, because there's this park called like Rock Park or something like that, where if you it's called Boulder Rock Park, where if you throw a boulder, there's so many boulders that it actually will make like a really high-pitched musical sound. And because there's so many rocks, it will kind of like scatter the rocks. So there'll be just one rock that'll kind of like ping pong around, and it'll make like really high pitched sounds. It's really cool. So maybe that's what he's talking about.
In some special areas of the world, there are fields of rocks that can sing.
Yes, this is what I'm talking about.
Rocks, and when
ringing
you
rocks.
them with a hammer, they ring out like a bell. Using these, ancient civilizations would make an instrument called a lithophone, which is basically a rock xylophone.
The OG original xylophone.
There's some debate about why these rocks actually ring. One informal study from the 1960s cut up both a ringing rock and a normal rock. And after measuring the initial dimensions, they waited a bit and measured them again.
And
the
why?
Rock, well, stayed normie. There was no change in size, but
sorry, normal rock
actually expanded a little.
What?
There were some internal stresses that were released after the rock was cut. And
interesting.
The thing is that these internal stresses are what causes the rocks to ring. It's also been found that rocks with higher internal stresses ring at higher frequencies. So maybe if you want to
So wait, what are the internal stressors inside of rocks? Rocks don't really do anything. So I'm guessing that like whatever is the chemical makeup of the rock, it has a bunch of maybe potential energy, like more so than normal rocks. So it wants to expand or something like that, because it seems like the rocks are made out of the same exact thing, but something inside of them chemically is just slightly different. And the more of that difference is the sounds that it'll make. It'll be higher pitch or lower pitched. My brain kind of hurts.
Higher note, you need to stress out the rock more. But unfortunately, people kind of suck, and most of the smaller ringing rocks from these rare areas have been stolen.
Of course they have.
Even worse, there's only boulder-sized ringing rocks.
Oh yeah, this is the park that I was talking about that I've been to before.
But this hasn't stopped people from taking chunks of them home as souvenirs.
Come on, guys.
The part is, breaking these rocks releases the stresses inside them.
Then they don't make sound.
Lose their musical ability permanently.
That's like going to an opera and then you rip out the esophagus of the singer. You can't do that. It takes away their musical ability.
You gotta take care of the earth, people. Like, treat it nicely.
Yeah, keep music rocks as music rocks. Thank you for what?
Under visible light, some rocks appear normal, but under ultraviolet light,
yes,
they glow.
That looks awesome.
Glowing rocks have special atoms in them called activators, and when UV light shines on one, the energy excites an electron, causing it to jump to a higher energy level temporarily. But after a fraction of a second, the electron loses its energy and falls back down to its original energy level. As
Dang
it
it.
does, it releases the extra energy as a photon of visible light. And the millions and billions of these activator atoms all releasing photons at the exact same time, your eyeball perceives this as a glowing rock.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like most Dumb Doggo videos are really informative. Even though, like, you know, it's really silly animations, they should be showing this in schools across the entire world. Because at the same time, I'm like, wow, this is a nice animation. This is super entertaining. Also, I am learning things. I am learning stuff about rocks that I never would have willingly, because I don't like to read. I like to watch funny YouTube videos.
This property is called fluorescence, and I have a really hard time spelling the last half of that word.
Fluorescence.
Depends on the chemical element of the activator atom. For example, these activators cause red glows like in calcite, uranium activators cause green glows like in autunite, and
I think most people knew that.
Cause blue glows like in scheelite. But
whoa,
rocks lose their glow when the UV light is turned off. But there are some rocks that keep glowing without it.
Wait, really?
Phosphorescence, and it works in a similar way to fluorescence, but instead of the excited electron falling back down quickly, it gets stuck at the higher level.
Oh no.
Something called a forbidden transition, which sounds quite ominous, but basically due to quantum rules, the electron holds
Einstein.
energy longer and releases it slowly over time. So you get a sustained, continual glow until the electron eventually drops down to its original energy level.
I wonder if this is the same chemicals that they use to make glow-in-the-dark things, like glow-in-the-dark shirts, glow-in-the-dark wristbands. I remember when I was growing up, I had like glow-in-the-dark stickers that if you shine them at the light for a long period of time, then they would absorb the light. But maybe it's the chemical that he's talking about, the one that kind of like gets stuck in the outermost position, and then it like slowly will lose its light over time. But since you left it in the light, like it gets stuck in that position and then slowly goes away after, you know, like a few hours, I remember. So maybe it's the same exact chemicals that they just took from these different minerals and different rocks, and then they put them in like your glow bands and your glow stickers and your glow tattoos and stuff.
This is what's used in glow-in-the-dark stickers.
Literally, 2 seconds later.
Died over time. But did you know you could recharge them if you use a blacklight torch?
Yes.
And it doesn't stop here. Glowing rock speed round. Thermoluminescence
More rocks.
causes rocks to glow when you heat them up.
What?
Although most objects will eventually glow if you heat them up enough.
Well, yeah, that's true, like flamethrower.
Causes rocks to produce light when they're scratched or crushed. Like
I don't like that.
Produce a small flash of blue light when you smash them.
What? Really?
Electroluminescence causes rocks to glow when you electrocute them. And
That one makes sense.
Causes rocks to glow when
I love how all of these different like scientifical names. Also, this is just not even spelled remotely correctly. But yeah, I love that all of these like scientific names are very self-explanatory. Like the last one was the electroluminescence, where obviously if you electrify it, it's going to glow up. This one, if you, I'm guessing, if you put it close to some sort of radioactive material or blast it with radioactive material, boom, it's gonna glow.
They're bombarded by radioactive decay. So rocks can form perfect cool shapes, they can sing, they can glow. What else can they do?
I don't know, maybe magnets?
Magnetic rocks. I like to put myself in the shoes of early humans coming across crazy phenomena in the world. Like, what would it be like to see lightning for the first time? Or
You would start praying to a god.
Or find out that these mystical rocks want to do this.
They love each other.
There are stories of ancient people thinking that magnetic rocks had some sort of life force or soul, which allowed them to attract other objects.
It makes sense when you think about it, because imagine you are a simple caveman back in like 2000 BC, and you're just in a jungle, and boom, you find these two rocks that if you put them near each other, they start coming together. Like anything that moves in nature, you're probably thinking like, oh, maybe there's some sort of life force behind it, or there's some sort of godly nature thing controlling it, which is why there were so many gods back in the day, because all of these people, they didn't understand what they were looking at. They didn't have science, so they would just pray to anything. They would pray for rain. They would pray for lightning. They would probably pray that these rocks would separate each other because they were stuck together because they're magnets.
Know it's a type of iron ore called magnetite. Usually it's
Pokemon.
just attracted to other magnets and doesn't do any of the attracting by itself. In very rare cases though, the ore is permanently magnetized and doing the attracting.
That's pretty cool.
So how did this random rock become a magnet naturally? Well, for a magnet to be magnetized, it needs to be exposed to a strong magnetic field. And the Earth has a magnetic field, but it's way too weak to create a strong magnet. So instead, the theory is when magnetite is just chilling, minding its own business, it gets struck by lightning.
Lightning! Of course, there needs to be some sort of force.
The lightning strike permanently magnetized the iron ore, creating something called a lodestone.
Giga magnet.
That's why lodestones are quite rare and only occur near the surface. This lightning theory was also supported by a NASA dude's experiments, where he shucked some magnetite in a lab and officially created.
No! Poor rocks!
I'm like, what can't rocks do? Like, next you're gonna tell me that some rocks are alive or something. Why are you silent?
Coral? Is that what we're talking about? Like in the ocean?
Around a small town in Romania called Castesti are a bunch of lumpy-looking rocks called trovants. They might look innocent and
Trubbish?
unassuming, but if you've lived in this town for long enough, you'd know that there's something fishy about them.
What do they do? Whoa, 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 whoa!
Different shapes and sizes. Some are tiny, some weigh several tons, and some are super duper lumpy.
That do be lumpy.
The word trovant translates to growing stone, and they've been recorded to increase in size.
I feel like I've seen stuff like this in a lot of TV shows and movies. It kind of reminds me of from Avatar: The Last Airbender, when Sokka and Katara, they get trapped in these like big stone-like things that will slowly grow over time. And that turned out to just be rock candy that just grows over time. But that's kind of similar to what we're talking about. Rocks that actually grow in size, which would kind of make you think that maybe they're living.
Especially after it rains. And their strange behavior has become a part of local myths, with them being thought of as dragon eggs. But when scientists cut one sample open, they didn't discover a dragon, but actually a bunch of ring layers instead, sort of like the growth rate of a tree. The theory
so it is growing?
Trovants are porous, meaning they have a lot of tiny holes inside them. They're able to absorb minerals from the rain.
So it's like a sponge.
Minerals build up inside, creating outward pressure, forcing the rock to expand.
Oh, let's go, Ditto.
This is very, very slow, and the rocks are estimated to grow a whopping 4 centimeters every 1,000.
That kind of reminds me of stalactites. Whenever you're in a cave, if you've ever been into a cave before that has stalactites, they also technically grow over time, because when it rains, the minerals are dragged down from the surface layers and then they go to the stalactites. So they kind of bring down some minerals with them over time, and then they kind of make a little deposit right at the tip so that the thing gets longer and longer and longer until eventually it'll actually meet with the ground. Pretty cool.
Years. So basically, every time it rains, it's sort of like the trovants' feeding time. But it doesn't end there. Sometimes the trovants grow a bulb. And with
that part's
time,
weird.
It can break off from the parent rock, creating a mini baby trovant.
Rock birth.
And the baby trovant can grow too. So if you want a pet rock, a trovant is your best pick.
But that means I have to water it.
Wait. Actually, no. Leave them in Romania. Back. Stop touching. I didn't really know much about rocks before this, but I had a lot of fun learning about these little goobers.
That was pretty awesome, and if you guys did too, make sure you guys smash like, subscribe, check out Dumb Doggo, and click right here if you want to consume even more knowledge.